I was talking about the various types of data you have in Python. Like someone else asked, is it important? I can actually say for data scientists, definitely yes, it is important. We understand all the types of data we have in Python. And from here, things will be very, very easy to proceed, especially now starting from tomorrow. So we have the numerical types. They are mainly used for arithmetic operations. And one thing is that we don't need quotation marks because they are basically numbers. They are not characters, they are numbers. So we don't need quotation marks to deal with them. And they are mainly used for in actually arithmetic operations. From here, we mentioned about text, which I always want you to remember. Anytime you're dealing with text in programming, then it is called a string. And a string represents a sequence of characters. And because these characters are in a sequence, as you're seeing, they must be enclosed inside single, double, or triple quotes. Then now we are actually here. We are talking about the sequence types, which are actually what we call the arrays. They are made of collection, which is actually good. You've already mentioned about the list. We have already done, and we said that the list uses a square bracket. And something else to remember is that lists are mutable. So if they are mutable, this means that we can always manipulate them. We can update, we can add, we can remove, we can modify elements within a list. Always keep that one in mind. It will be very, very applicable, especially in our machine learning classes. Tuples are, on the other hand, which uses round brackets. They are immutable. And because we said they are immutable, we cannot modify items after creation. They are mainly used to that will never change. Okay? So tuples are often used to store data that should not change over time. For example, a good example is like a Google Map coordinates. You cannot change that one. Okay? Now we also talked about sets. And I think in our immediate class, and we said that sets now they are unordered and they are mainly used to store unique elements because with sets, we don't allow duplicate values, okay? And if you want to see a set in any Python program, then they are basically any collection inside a curly brace, okay? And set supports discrete mathematical operations like union, like we saw in our previous class. We saw the intersection, and we also saw the difference. I'm sure we said that union is actually when you have this set, we combine with this set, we form a union. Intersection is actually items that are both here and here. It's like they intersect here and here. That is very important. We are going to see that one in our logical operations. And difference is like items that are in this set, but they are not present in the other set. Okay, so we said that union, we call it the OR operation. The intersection, we call it the AND operation. And the difference is what we call the NOT operation. So now today, now that we have joined all of us, almost like 46 students, we want to talk about dictionaries. This is very important for someone who wants to understand pandas. So let me just open this documentation. During our introductory classes, we had mentioned about a Python tool that is called pandas. I think we mentioned it. And even if you go to Google search, you're being told that pandas, it's fast, it's powerful, it is flexible, and it is easy to use open source data analysis and data manipulation tools. So that means that with pandas, you are able to use Python to analyze and manipulate data. And I can confess here today that Pandas it is mainly built on top of Python dictionaries. So if you don't clearly understand Python dictionaries today, then Pandas equally will be very challenging for us. So I want to take my time because here we have those people who want to do data analysis, you want to start analyzing data using Python, then definitely we are going to use Pandas. And like I've mentioned, Pandas uses Python dictionaries. On the other hand, I had mentioned about NumPy. And NumPy uses Python list. So NumPy uses Python list, Pandas uses Python dictionary. So there are two very important data types for data scientists or data analysts. So let's start from here now. Let's go to dictionaries. I think, yeah, so open this one here. Python dictionaries here. So let me know when if you're there. Let me know whether you're there, so that now we can go together. So I think for Daisy, you're asking how many quizzes are there. I think I'll confirm today. We've not been uploading them, but now we'll upload them in one at a go, so that now you can go through all the other aspects that we've been learning together. Okay. It's my friend here called Kasongo. That's a good name. You're also asking how can one get to teach one of the building blocks. Yeah, if you're okay, we can actually be having those. I think for Python, let's say maybe you can give us one. You can inbox us, then we can talk about that one. Maybe, yeah. If maybe you're familiar and you want to impact, then that's also good. So let's start. Dictionaries here. So dictionaries are still collection data types. So this means that you can use it to store collection of data. But this collection data type in Python, we use it to store data in key value pair. That is now the key, actually. That is the most important thing I'm talking about here. So dictionaries are collection data type in Python in such a way that data is stored in key and value pair, okay? Where each key is unique and values can be of any data type. We are going to demonstrate that one in a code. So the characteristics of a dictionaries are key value pair. So which means that each item is a combination of a unique key and its associated value. That is one characteristic of a dictionary. So you must provide a key so that you can store a value. So every key must be associated with a value. That's one. Number two, dictionaries are mutable. They're actually very similar to lists in such a way that we can add, we can modify, and we can remove key value pairs. So that is important for data scientists because we can use it to manipulate data. Also, dictionaries are unordered. So we don't have any duplicate key. And you're going to see that one. And this was actually introduced in Python 3.7 and beyond. So we're going to talk about that one. So keep in mind, they are unordered. You're going to see that one. And then keys are immutable. So which means that you can never change a key name. Okay. And then values are mutable. So you can store it in any type data. So that is actually, those are the characteristics of a dictionary. So the syntax. So if I'm saying the syntax is how can you identify a dictionary within a Python code? So we can actually say that for you to define dictionaries, then we use curly braces with key value pairs separated by colon. So that is actually how you identify a dictionary. So let me repeat that one. If you're dealing with a dictionary, then you're going to define some curly braces where we have key that is associated with a value, and we can separate the key and a value with a full colon, okay? Or by using I think I'll be avoiding this one because it's not done OP, so it will not be as effective as much. So I think I'll just go with the curly braces one because it's the most popular one actually. So an example of a dictionary is something like this one here. This is a variable and it wants to store a type of data that is a dictionary. So how do you identify a dictionary? We have curly braces. That is the first thing you see, curly braces here. And then after having the curly brace, you will have the key that associates with a value. And I hope you're seeing that for you to associate them, you can actually provide a full colon like this one here. Then you provide comma, age is associated with a value, city is associated with another value. So this is what we call Python dictionary. They're very, very important. So because dictionaries, they are mutable, there are so many methods you can do. And I hope you can see like almost 14 key values, get, update, pop, clear, and so many other ones. We're going to talk about them one by one. And now, why are we learning dictionaries? So these are the use cases. One is that dictionaries are used to store structured data. So let me even be specific. A structured data is a data that is represented in a table format. Okay, we're going to talk about that one later. But just to know, a structured data is a data represented in a table format. Example, it's a data that is stored in Excel files, data that is stored in CSV files, data that you can find in our relational databases are what we call structured data. And for us to use those structured data in Python, we are going to work with Python dictionaries, okay? Another very important use case of a dictionary is when you want to map key to values. For example, you can store phone books, you can store lookup tables like in Excel, and then it is also an efficient lookups and update by key. And for those who are doing software development, maybe that was your passion, then dictionaries are the most popular one for working with JSON-like data structures in Python. So those who are doing software development, maybe you can research more about what is JSON-like data. Okay, maybe to mention it, it is data that can be transmitted from one system to another system. So it is a standard format in such a way that, let's say I want to transmit data from KCB to M-Pesa. So KCB and M-Pesa, they have to communicate in a standard format of data that we call JSON. Maybe you can research more about it. And in Python, JSON are represented as Python dictionaries. So let's see this one in practice. There is a notebook that I had shared. Just copy this one. Copy this one, then you can actually paste it. Can actually paste it right here. And then, as usual, that is our guiding practices that you want to do. So for your own practice, which I really advise, you can open a new Colab notebook. So open here, Google Colab, open Google Colab, and then now you can start doing your own practices. And I really advise you do as much as possible so that now you're familiar with these concepts that we are learning here. So I'm actually preparing my environment. I hope you're doing the same. So if you don't have this one, I can still share with you the chart. I'm looking for the chart here. I'm sharing that one with you, that one. Then, so I have these two. So make sure you have the notes, the guiding. These are the guiding practice that you want to do. And then we have the class practices right here. So I want you to label this one Python dictionaries class practice morning. So we can actually say, sorry, Python dictionaries class practice. So this is why you're doing a class practice. And now to distinguish between the morning and the evening class, you can just add here morning. Yeah, because you're also going to do the same for the evening classes. This is for the morning class. So Python dictionary class practice morning class. Then you maintain the .ipynb, the interactive Python notebook extension. And now we are ready to start. So let me know whether you're now ready with your setup. I want to give you 2 minutes. It's 9:53. We start at 9:55. And now we do the practice. So I'm waiting for you to do, I'm waiting for you to do now the setup. As I'm waiting for that one, we have given you 2 minutes. Cliff, you've asked a very good question. If maybe I can explain maybe if there is a relationship between dictionary and data structure. That's a very good question. So to answer your question, I can say that data structure, let me start from there. Remember I had mentioned about data structure at some point, and we can actually say that data structure refers to a way we organize data in a more efficient manner. So data structure refers to a way to store data in a more efficient manner so that someone can retrieve information very easily, and maybe you want to find information very easily from a data structure. So in simple terms, data structure is a way to organize data. So now dictionary, it is a way we organize data by providing key to an associated value. Now that is the relationship. So I can actually say that dictionary, it is a data structure where we store data by providing key and the associated value. I hope I've answered that one. But there are more advanced data structures that I think I had mentioned. You learned them in your advanced programming classes. We have data structures like queues, we have stacks, we have linked lists, and so on and so forth. So just to get it right, data structure, it is basically a way to store and organize data in a more efficient manner. And dictionaries, it is a data structure where data is organized by storing it in a key and a value pair. I hope I've answered that one. It was a good question, especially now if you want to advance your Python knowledge to more advanced level.
Yes, you have answered my question, but the next question would be, like, if I have a complex data that needed to be managed through data structure, is it applicable on dictionary, or I have to learn more about data structure to manage those complex data?
Yeah, that's also a very wonderful one. Yeah, so for starters, you're going to notice that we are not going to handle complex data, and Python lists, Python, so let me even type them here. So data structure, let me just see, it's a good topic to mention. Data structure is a way to organize data. Organize data. So Python have their own built-in. So these are what we call built-in. So Python have their own built-in data structure. We've been learning them. So far, so good. We've talked about list. So list is a data structure where data can be indexed. Okay. and data is mutable. That is a data structure. I don't want to do, I think we have tuples, we have sets, sorry. We have, now we're talking about dictionary. So these are data structure, but they are built in Python. But what this one can do is that at some point you'll actually need more complex operation that you need to organize. Let's say you want to store data like for Facebook users. So you see the Facebook users, their data structure is very, very complex because you're actually storing like 1 billion users. So to do that one, then we have number 2, the derived one. So these are what we'll be learning in your data structures. Just to mention here, the derived one, we have something like queues. So these are derived queues. So queues is a derived data structure. We cannot do it here because it is not built in here. We have something like stacks. I think I've misspelled it. Stacks. I think there is something called linked, list, and so many other ones. Trying to think about them. So those are the derived ones. So like you actually ask the question, if you want to interact with more complex data structures, then we normally advise the derived one, the ones that are free. You can work with queues, tags, and linked list. I hope I've answered now.
Yes, you have answered me, but is it part of what we are going to practice, the data structure, or just we are going to stop on object-oriented programming?
We are actually, for data science, we'll actually stop at OOP. We actually stop at OOP. And then if you maybe you want to interact with more complex data, you can actually take your time and now go and learn some other various data structures. The ones I've mentioned here. So we are not going to do them here because our outline is, we were only limited up to OOP. But it was just by the way to mention that we have data structures that are more advanced than tuples, sets, dictionaries, and lists. I hope now that one makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so let's proceed from there. So this was just a by the way for data structures. So if you're really interested to go learn them, then you can actually do them after this course. After you now reached up to OOP, you can actually take your time and understand other. Yeah, that is actually what Savai, you're asking. It is something called data structures and algorithms. Yeah, it's the same topic actually. It is the same. The one I mentioned, the DSF. Yeah, so it's the same topic. Yeah, so the big O notation, those are what you actually be learning in your data structure classes. Yeah, so it's actually the big O where you'll be learning time complexity, you'll be learning space complexity, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to mention them here because I'm also assuming we have those people actually learning programming, maybe for their first time. And if you go even to that level, then it would be maybe not make sense, not make that much sense. But no, the big O notation, time complexity, space complexity are what we call data structures and algorithms. So let me start now on Python dictionaries. And the class practice is here. So we want to start from, where are we? So I hope you're together. Yes, I hope you're together now. So a dictionary, we said it is a collection of unordered, modifiable, paired key value data type. That is the simplest definition of a dictionary. So how do you create a dictionary? So for you to create a dictionary, this is an empty one. So let's start with creating a dictionary, an empty dictionary. So let's start from there. So creating an empty dictionary is important. So for you to create an empty dictionary, we had said that If you look on the practices that I've actually added, you just have to say this is a syntax. I want to avoid the other one. I think, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So I want to paste it here. So this is an empty dictionary. This is what you call a dictionary. Yeah. So this one is empty because you've not added any key with its associated value. So if I try to print here, I try to print the type. We normally do, we've been doing this one for some time. I want to see whether this variable called empty dictionary, it's actually a dictionary. And I also want to see whether we have something there. So you can actually also type the length of the empty dictionary, like that one. So I want to run this one. So if you run this one, so it's connecting to the Google servers. And then it's connected successfully. We should be having our Python interpreter. And Python interpreter has actually defined that this is a dictionary, this one here. So long as we have curly braces, then we're actually dealing with a dictionary. And its length is 0, which means that nothing has been stored inside that specific dictionary. So that is where we start. I hope you can try that one on your last practice. Just try it out and see whether it's working. Yeah, so then from there, we can now move to the next practice. So I want to go very slow. How about you have dictionaries with some values? So this actually, what you actually remember is that for you to store a dictionary with some values, then we'll have to provide key that refers to a certain value. I hope you can see that one. So this is a key. You put a full colon, you associate with a value, then you don't forget this comma here. So this comma suggests that now we are going to the next pair. Key 2, value 2. Key 3, value 3. Key 4, value 4. Something to remember, like we mentioned, every key must always be unique. I want to even give you a good example. You want to store students in a dictionary, you can do that one because every student have their own registration number. So student registration 1 is this student here. So this registration number can never be used anywhere else. It has to be unique. You can never repeat a key. Okay. So student registration 2 here, registration 3 here. Even if you want to store, let's say, like everyone have their own phone number. Like this phone number has been associated to this person. This other phone number, we are now associating it with someone else. So that now we only have unique phone numbers that we can actually refer to their owners. So we have the key, full colon, the value, put a comma. Don't forget that one. Key 2, full colon, value 2. And that's actually how we create a dictionary. So the example I want us to try, because that is actually how you're going to see. So normally, for most developers, they prefer that after you've actually added key and value, we just press enter so that now we can see them in this order here. So let's say I want to store a person's record in a dictionary, like this one here. So what I will do, I will have his first name associated here, last name associated here. Please remember there are commas. Don't forget the commas. So this comma is something like this one here. So first name, this person, there is a comma. Last name, this one, there is a comma. Your age, we're going to change that one. So it's 250. Don't forget the comma. Your country is Finland. Don't forget the comma. Is this person married? True. Don't forget this comma. Now for the skills, which is actually now the interesting part, you can have more than one skill. And those skills that you have, we can actually store them in a Python list, okay? In a Python list. So this key here associates with these skills that we have. So this person is skilled in JavaScript, in React, Node, Mongo, and Python. Now, what about the address? So the address, you can even refer to another dictionary that we call it a nested dictionary. So the address, it's another dictionary in such a way that we have the street here and the zip code right here. So this is basically the dictionary data structure. So I want you to copy it. I want you to copy it and paste it right here. Where is it here? So just open a new code cell. Then you can actually say now dictionaries with multiple values. Yeah. So then just paste that one right there. So this is basically what we call a dictionary. Don't forget to run it and run it. And we have actually stored a dictionary. So this person has been associated with a dictionary here. And for good practices, is normally placed that way on the outside so that you can see that this is a dictionary that started here all the way up to here. Inside that dictionary, we have every key that refers to values. So the values can be of any data type, but for starters, keys must only be associated with strings, like this one here. So the first name is a string, we associated with another string. Last name, we associated with another string like that one. But for the age, we are now providing an integer. Country, we are providing another string. I want to know whether you're married. I'm referring that one to a Boolean. So I'm going to do that in the next module. The skills you have, I'm referring that one to a list. The addresses that you have, I'm referring that one to another dictionary. So what we'll be calling a nested dictionary. So I want you to copy that one and paste it in your code, then make sure you execute it like that one. I'm copying that one. Where is it? So I should be pasting that one right here. Maybe you can also try. So let's even try a more complex one before even doing other ones here. Before even going to the length and other ones. So let's even try a more complex one. So I want us to try more examples. So more examples. More examples. So this is what I want us to do. So what I want us to do. Student table. So like I was saying that a dictionary is used to represent I'm not looking for this one. Let me just say students records. Something I'm trying to look for that would make sense. Just a minute, that's a minute. Yeah. Perfect, yeah, perfect. I have this one here. Let's try something up together because it's actually what we're going to do in our pandas. So I just want to see the relationship between pandas and dictionaries. I want to copy this address. I've copied the image address, copy the image address, like that one. I want to add the image address in a text cell. So it said that, so here you're actually saying tabled data in dictionary. So this is now what we'll be learning in our pandas classes. So let me just want to add the image. So IMG, then source is that specific image, like that one, yes. So if you want this one, and still share this one with you, can put it in a text cell. So put it in a text cell. So let's say to be tested in a text cell. Now let's try this one together. Let's try this one together. So now I have this one here. So this is what we are going to do in our data science and data analysis classes, because you're going to notice that as a data scientist or a data analyst, most of the time you'll be dealing with a structured data. And a structured data is a data that is represented in a table format. So if someone tells you now to organize this data, the best data structure to use is actually a dictionary. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it goes. Now you can add a code cell below here and add a code cell below here. I hope I'm not confusing. You can now add a code cell here. And you can basically say that this is actually employee record. Can you see these are employees? Maybe you want to analyze the employee. Maybe you're working as HR. So you can actually say these are the employees record that I want to store, so that now I can proceed to the analysis. So for this employee record, the best data structure to represent this one is a dictionary. And then we always press enter like that one here. So these are the employees. I want to represent what you see in this image as a Python dictionary. I want to copy this one. So if you're with me, I hope now you have this one. I hope now you have this one, that one. Now, how do I start now? Putting information that is associated to this table. So let's see something in common here. There is these are the column names, and these are the record. These are the column values. The column name, the column values. Column name, column values, and so on and so forth. So to start with, I want you to see something here that will be very, very interesting. In our pandas classes, we'll be saying something like employee number. This one, it is what we have as the column name. I hope you can see that one. So this is the column name here. Now, where are the values for that column? The values for that column, it is actually stored as a collection. And you see that one. So we have a list of values starting from zero. Sorry, they are numbers actually. So it starts from 0, 0, 1, comma. And yeah, there's something we are going to notice. Let me just say. There's something you're going to notice that Python doesn't allow us to start with 0, because 0 is considered a binary. So allow me to make the employee numbers as strings, and just make them as strings. So the first employee number is 0, 0, 1. The second one is 0, 0, 2. The third one is 0, 0, 3. And finally, the fourth one is 0, 0, 4. So now if you have any question, you can ask. But I just wanted to show you the relationship now between tabled data that we'll be calling later structured data with what we are learning as Python dictionary. So we have the key is the column name. So every time I want to get the employee number. Hello?
Yeah, yes, I have a question.
So every time I want to get now the employee numbers. Yes.
Yeah, is it similar like to have tuples inside list or vice versa?
It is like now we have a dictionary where we have actually placed key that refers to a list. So remember here we said that for a dictionary, you can have a key that refers to a string, a key that refers to a string, another key we can refer to an integer. So there are some points where you can even have a key that we can point to a Boolean. Now for the skills, it was a key that refers to a list. So similarly here, this one is the key, employee number is the key. So the key is the column name that will refer to the list of numbers in that column here. And then you put a comma, like this one. Then you press enter. Now the next key refers to, yes, Victor, you're asking why should we put numbers as string? Because we've noticed that in programming, we cannot start numbers with zero. So I've actually opted to start them as strings. I hope it's making sense here. Then from there, I can now have the name, and you see that column name. This is the key name. This column name is now associated with these values here. So those values, we can store them in a Python list because they are list of values. So we can actually place them here, like that one. So we can start with the first name is Alex S. The next employee is, Golit, okay. The third one is Rabin, R. And finally, the last one is Jones. And now this is now what we'll be doing a lot in our subsequent classes, especially pandas. And that's why I was saying that it is very, very good to understand Python dictionaries because you're going to use them to now organize data in a structured format like this one. So from the name, so this was the employee number. We had the list for that one here. We had the list for that one here. So this key, we associated with this list here. This key, we associated with this list here. And now we go to Edge. So now I hope now we can proceed. And that's why you are saying that data types are very, very important in any programming language that you're actually interacting with. So now for the Edge, I can now go with integers, just like Victor, you're asking that one. So now we can associate it with the numbers. So this is 26. That is 32. The other one is 31. And the other one is 26. I hope you see that one. Then department. So department is another key. So always remember, after I've associated the key and the values which are in a list, I provide a comma. Another key, values in a list, I provide comma, and so on and so forth. So from there, I have department. I have department. I associate it with another list of departments we have. So which department do we have? We have the store. We have marketing. We have again marketing. Then finally we have security. That one. Then finally we have their salaries. So let's have their salaries. The salaries. So the key is salary. And then the values are the list of salaries that we have. So this is basically now what we are going to do in our pandas classes. I'm sure it will be very, very interesting now. You're given a data, now you store it in a collection. So this is actually 5,000, 5,600. We have again 5,600, and we have 5,001. and red. So that is actually now what we call a Python dictionary that we use to represent data in a structured format. Okay. So now if I would have imported pandas, I would have actually gotten this table here and now start my Python analysis. Okay. I can say who has the highest salary, which employees are in the same department, which employees are actually below 30 years of age. I can actually now do all the analysis I want, so long as now I've actually stored this data in a data structure that is now well organized for analysis. So I would wish to copy this one right here. And now I can answer any question that we have from there. So there are some questions maybe I missed to. I think I had answered, Ogal. Franklin, you had asked, what is the difference between dictionaries and sets? A good question as well. Yeah, so differentiating a dictionary and a set is that dictionaries, you must have key to refer to a value. Okay, that is what we call a dictionary. Dictionary is when you have key with its associated value. And sets, let me just show you sets. We were just saying here, for sets, just put your data here. This is what we call sets. And I hope you can see that with sets, we don't have any key that we associate with the value. We just put a collection inside curly brace, like that one here. So that is the difference. I think we now mentioned sets, and we say that sets are unique, and we use them for now the union intersection operation. These are sets. These are dictionaries. So for a dictionary, there must be a key to associate it with a value in that order. So any other question before we proceed? Make sure you run this one. And also you run this one here. Yeah, like that one. Yeah. So Victor is still wondering, why are we putting strings in numbers? Good observation. Let me show you why we had actually done that one is because if I refer to them as numbers, then we get some error. The error is because in programming, you can never start any digit with 0 because 0 is represented as binary. Just type it here. Yeah, let me just type it here. I hope you see that one. So in computing, we have numbers that we call binary. Not binary, sorry, binary. And binary we have is 0 and 1. 0 and 1. So those are what we call binaries. So because now 0 is considered a binary, it is not used to start any numerical digit. Yeah, unless you're dealing with bits. They're normally called bits, binary digits. So to avoid that one, unless maybe these employee numbers were 1, if it was 1, then that's okay. I hope you're seeing that one. Let me just put them that way so that it's not confusing you much. 2, okay. 3, okay. And 4, it's okay. 4 will be fine. But if you start with 0, 0, 1, that is considered to be binary. And now, unless we interact with it as a string, we cannot use it as a number. Okay, either that one is okay now. So the employee will start from 1. The name was, so this is actually now a record. This is actually a record. Employee 1 is called Alex S. It's of age 26. Department is actually from the store department. Its salary is 5,000. This is what we'll be calling later a record. This is what we'll be calling a row or a record. Another record is for employee number 2. It's called Goliath K. I hope you can see. It's called Goliath K. Goliath K is of age 32 here. It's actually from marketing department, and it's actually earning 5,600. So that's why the two most important data types in data science and data analytics are the dictionaries that we are learning today and the lists, because we'll be using the list to store now the collection of data for our analysis. I hope I've answered your question, so now we can proceed. We can actually proceed now to more operations. So this was just some more example, more advanced example. So let's proceed with more operation. Now, the first operation they are actually looking for is how do you access items in a dictionary? Let's try that one. So, operation number 2, accessing items in a dictionary. Accessing an item in a dictionary. So to do this one, we can actually say that we would always refer to a unique key to extract, just say to extract its associated value. So like we said, with a list, we normally work with indexing. Now with dictionary, we have to provide the key so that now we get the associated values. I want to avoid this one for now. This is very complex, but I hope you've actually tried it out. Let's talk about this one here. Let's copy this one here. Let's copy this one here. Put it here. So you can actually say that if this was our dictionary, how do we access its values? Let's see in our examples. We're being told here that for me to get your first name, I will have to take the dictionary person here, and then I associate it with the key first name. And remember, for you to place the key, we'll actually have to use the square brackets here. So here, so this is actually if I want to get your first name, country, your skills, and so on and so forth. So let me try the first two first. Let's try the first two. I copy this one. Then we paste it here. We paste it right here. So we actually want to see whether if I go to the dictionary person and then I access the key first name, can I get the value that it was associated with? If I run this one, I'm actually extracting the name. So this name was associated with the key first name. So if that is the case, then you're going to get the value. What about the country? About the country. So the similar, if I want to get the country for this person, then I just refer to the country, then I get the value right here. So please pass the question as much as possible. If maybe in case you are not with us, maybe you can try. How about if I want to get the last name? If I want to see your last name, I will just say, I want to go to the dictionary person and I access your last name, that one. Then if I refer to that one, I'm always getting your last name right here. So that's actually how dictionary works. You provide the key, you extract the associated value that was based on that key, okay? So I would wish you can try these three first. Yes, I would wish you can first try these three. Okay, I think I will share everything. Start first with those three. Not here, should have been here. That's that way. Yeah, like that one. So you provide the key, you are given the value for that key. Similarly, you provide the key, you're given the value, and so on and so forth. Now, the most common error that you'll find here is when you provide the wrong key. That is actually the most common mistake that most people do. So for example, I want to get in the dictionary person, I want to access your first name. Let me try to access your first name again. Remember the key that was associated with, let me just say your age. Yeah, I want to get your age. So your age was associated with age with lowercase a, this one here. So let's see whether if you provide age with uppercase A, let's see what happens. You'll always get something called a key error. It's very common. Key error. Key error refers to a situation where this key that you've provided here has not been associated with any value in the dictionary. Okay, and this is very common for most people working with dictionary. You'll always find people getting key error. So key error is when you're actually trying to access a key without any value, because the key that we have is the one with lowercase a. So if that was the case, then this age will provide me with the value 250. Okay. Yeah, so indentation error is always there. It's always there. But I don't think Kulab's, yeah, this one is always there. So as much as possible, make sure that all your code starts from the edge for now. I think we're going to talk about indentations tomorrow while we are not talking about Python conditions. So that's actually how you access values from a dictionary. Okay, we provide the key, we extract the value here. Okay, we provide the key, we extract the value here, and so on and so forth. Sometimes you might even want to store the value in a variable. Let's say I want to know your marital status. So I can even create a variable called marital status. And marital status is, I go to this person and then I access the key that was called is married, like that one. So marital status is, I have actually gone to the person, I have accessed the key is married. So the value that will be extracted here would be stored in a variable called marital status. So if I print here now, for me to see the value, I will have to print marital status, like that one. And then now we're being told that true. I can even give it something like the person, I can even say is the person married. Yes, it's the person married. If I run this one now, it looks better. It's the person married. True. Because I've actually gone to the dictionary and says your marital status. So any question up to there now, if you want to access values in a dictionary, please always keep in mind that you have to provide the key so that we extract the associated value, that key. So for Dorics, I think this one we are going to talk about it tomorrow. The indentations, we'll be talking about them tomorrow in our conditions classes. Okay, so for now, just remember that any code that you write in Python, you have to start from the edge here. Without any indentation, you have to start from here. Don't put an indentation here, you'll get an indentation error that we'll actually talk about in details tomorrow. So now there is a situation where accessing values, accessing keys that is associated with collections. So sometimes you can actually access a value that is associated with a collection. For example, in this manner, the skill. If I actually try to print here, if I try to print here, the person, then I pass here the skills here. The value that I'm extracting here is actually a list because it is a list of skills that were associated with this skills here. So if I run this one here, I'm getting that this key was associated with the list of skills that this person had. Okay? So if I want to know the first skill that you had, remember this is a list. So if I want to access the values in a list, I can now put now the index. I can now say, I want to get now the skills at index 0. Can you see? So the first one, we extracted the list. And then from the list that you have extracted, we want to get the first value. So we want to get the first value. So if you run this one here, now you're getting that the first value is JavaScript because JavaScript was the first skill at index 0. What about at index 3? What about at index 3? We get that is MongoDB. So index 0, 1, 2, index 3 was MongoDB. So anytime you're given a dictionary, then you want to access a value that is inside a collection. If it's a list, then you'd have to pass the index value to access that specific value here. Okay? So that was the first one. If you are accessing a list, you just take that key, then you pass the index. B, as you've noted, sometimes you can associate it with a dictionary. So if this is the case, then I can just say, if I go and print the person address. So remember, there is a key called address that has been linked to another dictionary that we later will be calling it a nested dictionary. Then I'll just first have to pass the address like that one. So if I run this one again, I'm getting another dictionary where I have the street and I have the zip code. So if I want to know the zip code, the first one, I have all the information. So if I want to get your zip code, then I'll pass here another key called zip code, like that one. This one you pass is the index, because we said in a Python list, we use index to access the values. On the other scenario, you pass now the dictionary here. If I run this one, I'll get your zip code as 0 to 210. So this is actually how we access values within a dictionary. This is something you're going to do as many times as possible until now it makes sense to everyone. And so far, there's no question up to there. So we can now proceed to the next module. Yeah, so from here, we're being told that accessing an item by the key name raises an error if the key does not exist. Okay? So to avoid this error, first we have to check if the key exists, or we can use the get method. So if you actually use the get method, it returns none, which is actually a non-type object data type if the key does not exist. So if you pass the key by using this square brackets, and then you pass a key that is non-existent, you'll get an error. So to avoid this one, you can also work with get. I want to say person, I want to get their first name. Person, I want to get their country. And this one will actually avoid the key errors that you have. So for example, if you don't have the city, it will just return none. Okay, I think that one is also self-explanatory. How do we add an item to a dictionary? So I think there's a question before I proceed to that one. Yeah, we can actually access them with loops. That is possible, and we're going to see that one in our looping classes. If you have already done JavaScript, then they are actually called objects. So that is true. They are more like objects. So that is according to, yes, the Kasongo, yeah. So it's actually more like objects in JavaScript. So if someone doing JavaScript and you're learning JavaScript objects, then it's actually Python dictionaries. So in JavaScript, they are called objects. In Python, they are called dictionary, but they are more or less the same. Okay. So later we're going to talk about loops, and you can see how we can also access items in a dictionary using loop. Now to proceed now, we can talk about how do you add an item to a dictionary. Okay. So we can add a new key and value pair to a dictionary. So this is what I mean here. If this is your dictionary, you have key 1 that is associated with value 1, key 2 associated with value 2, key 3 provide value 3, key 4 here. So if I want to add a new value, I will have to provide a very unique key that is not present. So for example, we have to key 4. So I'll have to say now key 5, I provide value 5. So for example here, yes, hello, sorry. Can you get my audio?
Yes.
Sorry for that one. So I was talking about adding a value to a dictionary. So to do that one, you just have to provide a new key that was non-existent. Like for example, here we had first name, we have the value for that one, last name, still here, age. But now we want to add the job title, instructor, and now we can provide that one there. So I want to avoid this one because we're going to do it later in our NumPy classes. So for example, here, you can just copy. Just copy that one. I can paste it right here. So initially, I have your first name, I have your last name, I have your age, your country, I have your marital status, I have the skills, and I have your address. Now, where is your job title? If I didn't have your job title, I can just take the dictionary person, I add another key called job title, and then this person is an instructor. So if I now print the entire dictionary person, you are going to notice that now job title will be part of that dictionary. Let me just confirm right here. Job title is instructor. I hope you've seen that one there. So the job title is instructor. So if you want to add a new value to a dictionary, you always remember to provide a new key. Like for example, I can even add another key like for this person. City. And then I add a new city. Helsinki. Like that one. So if I run this one, now I have added your job title. You are now an instructor from the city that is Helsinki. So now you can try this one as well. In case you get a challenge, or in case you have a question on the chat, you can always pass it there. So far, no question. Then from there, how do you modify an existing item in a dictionary? This will be very, very important, especially in our data manipulation and data pre-processing classes. Key one, initially we had provided it with value 1, remember? But now I want to modify that value. What I'll have to do, I will just have to take that key 1, I assign it a different value. So this different value now will be associated with that key again. For example, here, this person's age was 250. Okay? If I take your age and assign it 252, now we'll actually modify the value for your age. And even for your first name, I can actually modify it to the new value. So let's copy these two. Let's copy these two because of time. I've noticed time is moving very fast. So modifying values in a dictionary. So to do this one, we have the demo here. We have actually where we are saying that we even print person tab. So now we are saying that the first name, I have modified it from this name here to this name here. Your age was 250 initially. I have actually updated it to 252. So if I run, let me see whether the modification is done. Sorry, it should be B should be here. That one. So now your age is your first name. Initially, it was this name. Now your name is here because now we took the key and then we modified this value. Similarly, for your age, we took the key and modified the value for your age. This is actually how you update information in a dictionary. I want you to try it on your notebook in case you have an issue. You let me know on my end. From there, we're now talking about checking whether a key is present in a dictionary. We actually go with the in membership operator. I will not demonstrate this one, but we can actually see that we've already been doing this one. For example, I have key 1, value 1. Key 2 is there with value 2. Key 3 is there with its value 3. Key 4 is there with value 4. So to just see whether I have a certain key, then I just have to say, do I have key 2 in my dictionary? If it's there, then you get a Boolean true. If it's not there, then you get a Boolean false, okay? I think that one is self-explanatory. How do you remove a key value pair from a dictionary? So to remove a key value pair, we can work with pop key, pop item, delete. So starting with pop, then you pass key, it will remove, it will actually remove the value that was associated with key 1 item here. So let me even try. Yeah, so for example here, if I say dictionary.pop key 1, it removes the key 1 item. And if I say dictionary.pop item, it removes the last item here. So this is what I mean. Let me just copy this one very fast. Just demonstrate right here. So here, this should be a comment. the values in dictionary. Then I would paste it right here. What I mean here is that let me just print. Let me just print here. Just print person. So if I run this one, I think I should have, let me first remove this one. Start with that one first. So if you run this one, if you say person dot pop first name, this key value pair will be removed from the dictionary, if you can see there. Sometimes you can also work with pop item. So let me try it again here. If I say person dot pop item, it will randomly remove an item from the dictionary. Let me print person here again. Print person. So if you run this one, we are actually going to randomly pop an item out of the dictionary. Yeah, so in this manner, we have actually popped the we've actually popped. It's normally actually removes the last item. If I'm not wrong, it removes the last item that is added to a dictionary here. And then the last one, which is delete. Person that is married. So then the person that is married will actually be removed from the dictionary. So it's actually how you remove items from a dictionary. You can either pop item, when the last item will be removed. Person, you pass the key, then it will be actually be deleted. So I want you to try this one. I hope you can see they're all self-explanatory, but in case you can get a challenge, you can always pass it here. So moving further, yeah, so this one, I don't think we'll have to do this one where we want to change dictionary to a list of items. We'll actually don't have to do this one. How do you clear items in a dictionary? You can see here, if you have a dictionary with these key value pairs, and then you want to remove all the items within a dictionary, you just have to say dictionary.clear. Then all the items will be removed from that dictionary, and then it will turn out to be an empty dictionary. So deleting a dictionary, you just have to say delete dictionary. And this is whereby the dictionary will be completely removed from the computer memory. You can actually make a copy very similar to a list. So you can actually have the initial dictionary here, and then you can actually make a copy of the same. Moving forward, I think those ones are still self-explanatory, similar to this one, whereby if you want to get keys, only the keys, then you can just say dictionary.keys here. Then you're only going to get keys in form of a list, this one here. Okay. If you want to get the values, I think these two I can do them. I can try this too. Looks like now getting keys from a dictionary. Just press this one. So if you print this one, we're only going to get all the keys that have been associated in that dictionary. Let's say you want to search all the keys that are there. Okay. And then finally, if you want to search all the values, it's very, very similar. So getting all the values from a dictionary, basically try this one, where you say dictionary.value. So getting values from dictionary. Then you can actually paste that piece of code here. And then by just calling the dictionary, then dot values, you'll actually access all the values present in that dictionary. And actually, they're all here. So those are the methods that we'll mainly use. More method will come when now we're talking about loops. Yeah, so for today, I think I would actually talk about only, we actually reach up to that point. Then tomorrow, before I answer your questions now, tomorrow will be a very important class for us. I would wish we join like almost everyone, because now we are going to talk about Booleans. We're going to talk about Booleans and Python decision making. So later I will be uploading some materials that we're going to use to now start our new modules where we are going to first understand what are the Boolean data types and how do we use them to run Python decision making process. Okay, so that is actually what we're now going to talk about today. So today we've only mentioned about Python dictionaries, and one thing we've seen is that they are very, very useful when you want to store values in form of key and value. And we say that all these keys must be unique, and these values can be of any data type. It could be a string, it could be an integer, it could be a Boolean, it could be a list, it could even be another dictionary here, so long as you know how to access them. So if you want to access the values, you can just pass the key, you get the value, and so on and so forth. So I hope this is a very important session for us, and we'll always be referring to Python dictionaries in our pandas classes. So now let me get your questions, and then we call it a day for today. So let me see your question. As Patricia, you have an issue. You're saying that can you paste for me the code so that I can see the error? Just paste for me the code here. You're being told there is an unprintable character. I don't know what one is that one. Just paste for me the code that gave you this error. Then we can solve it. Any other questions? Just paste for me this code. Paste for me this code. The code that you're typing and you're getting that error. That code cell. If you're still bringing that error, just paste for me the code. Thank you. Then that's good. That's good. That's perfect. That's perfect. So any other question with Python dictionaries? Any other question now with Python dictionaries? Yeah, so if no question for today, I'll just do a quick recap. Then we'll actually recap on this one while we are now learning about pandas for data analysis. So we said that dictionaries, we store value in key pairs, and then the key are unique to the values that they have. So the characteristics are we have the key pair values. Dictionaries are mutable. You've seen that we can add, we can update, we can delete items in a dictionary. They are unordered, so there's no order we follow. Only that when you want to access values, just pass the key, then you extract the values. And the keys are immutable, so it means that keys must always be unique. You cannot change them. And then values are mutable. You can actually update in values that you have. Yeah, so the syntax is that anytime you want to see dictionaries in a Python code, then they are normally inside curly braces, like this one here, okay? The difference between a Python dictionary and a Python set is that dictionary, you must have key that you associate with a value. For a set, you just have to pass the information inside the curly brace. And this is actually a good example of a dictionary where you have the curly brace, we have the key on the left side that we associate with the value on the right side. And then you make sure you don't forget the comma. We have another key, then you associate with another value, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the methods that we've done, and more of them, we are going to do them in our looping classes. So in that one, I think we'll mark the end of this class with Python dictionaries. So let's meet tomorrow, which I am now hoping to do both Python booleans, and then we go to a third module. Let me just talk about that module as it. So that now we can now transition to Python conditional statements. Okay, Python conditional statements. So we're going to talk about what are indentations, how do you control the flow of a program, and so on and so forth. So that's one. Have a nice day. Meet you tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.